long back. They tried it several years ago, but what says on the sign, Rocky Mountain National Park, a UN biosphere preserve. They tried putting that sign up several years back, and there was an absolute outroar. That sign was taken down about as fast as it got put up.
Yeah, well, residents in Florida have been throwing a fit for years about their ideas, biodiversity.
Yeah, well, I was watching, 7 years ago, I was watching one of these AAA travel logs that they have on PBS. And, various national parks and, showing, the average American family, with the 2.5 kids with the plastic wood panel station wagon with the luggage rack on top, with the, and entering Great Smoky National Park. And right there, right at the beginning of the program, was Great Smoky National Park, a UN biosphere preserve. So these signs have been going up for quite a number of years. And not only that, we're dealing with World Heritage sites also, UN World Heritage sites. They actually have these signs at the Statue of Liberty Monument. They have that at Independence Hall. I mean, we have been taken over by UN agenda. It's been that way ever since the UN was created in San Francisco, and they raised the UN flag for the first time in, September 1945 in San Francisco, I believe it was.
I have a listener question for you.
Go ahead.
Does Tim know if the Denver area has Bohemian Grove-type secret local area, and what are his thoughts on Bohemian Grove?
Well, not in the same sense that Bohemian Grove is known to be, but those type of activities actually do go on here for sure, but it's under different venue and different cover. And probably the thing that comes out most in mind is what's known as the Kimball Castle, south of Denver, in Sedalia, the same town that I mentioned a little bit earlier when Sherry was asking, where Kofi Annan has a residence here in Colorado. But this Tweet Kimball Castle, Tweet Kimball was a very well-placed woman in the scheme of things. Her husband, Merritt Reddick, was with the CIA, and I'm trying to remember the person, that Frank Wisner. Frank Wisner was a very close friend of Tweet Kimball's husband, Merritt Reddick. Frank Wisner was the one that was heading up for the OSS. He was the one heading up the importation of the paperclip Nazis into this country. Meetings were being held at Tweet Kimball's castle, south of Denver here, very high-level CIA meetings that were being conducted here. There's many people that were coming through, high-level people that were former card-carrying Nazis, not that they ever really quit because they still are, the ones that still are alive, and not to mention the Fourth Reich Nazis that have come into being with Paperclip, Project Paperclip. And what is conducted there, now this is information that I'm originally the one feeding this information to Mr. Federal Whistleblower himself, bogus Stu Webb. Stu Webb started talking about Tiffany lamp meetings. Now, I had heard about Tiffany lamp meetings, and now Tiffany lamp meetings are conducted in other locations besides Tweet Kimball's castle, which has many Tiffany lamp, original Tiffany lamps within the castle. There are other locations, estates, where there are many Tiffany lamps that exist. That probably Fritz Springmeyer might be the best source for other locations where Tiffany lamp meetings could be held. Unfortunately, Fritz is in prison, set up on 100% bogus charges. But to get back to Tweet Kimball's castle, we have very high-level Satanist meetings that are conducted there on the summer and winter solstices. And Stu Webb keeps on saying, well, everybody's got to grab a camera, and take photos of all the limousines showing up. Well, these people show up at the Kimball Castle, but it's not on the surface. See, that castle was connected underground with tunnels, and I'm sure, I've had it literally confirmed by another source of mine, and it's connected underground with the Lockheed Martin missile manufacturing facility, which is about 10 miles as the crow flies, directly west of the castle.
And it wasn't Anton LaVey's son who said he spent a lot of time growing up at that castle with his father?
Yeah, well, that's supposedly the story that's out. I wouldn't doubt that a bit. But, you know, Stu Webb has on his site the Kimball Castle with a photo up there, and there's an article from that. And I'm not promoting Stu Webb's site. Sherry knows, and other people that are listening that know the situation between myself and Stu Webb knows I am certainly not promoting Stu Webb's site. There's a whole different situation with Stu Webb.
Oh, we're favorites of Stu Webb, aren't we?
Oh, boy. The article that is linked with that is called The Prime of Tweet Kimball. And this gets into what I'm talking about here. But that article was authored by an independent journalist friend of mine by the name of Joe Calhoun. But Stu Webb has taken it as his own information. And other information that I got from other people here in this area, I'm the one that pieced together where these Tiffany lamp meetings were being held, tied in with the Kimball Castle. And this was before I knew of this article by Joe Calhoun. So, because, you know, my background as a custom craftsman on the very high end, I've had many, many, many millionaires and, you know, probably 5 or 6 different billionaires thrown in among my clientele. And overall, with the years, you know, I picked up pieces of information and added it to the sum total of what I've come to know over the last 15 years, but certainly over the last 10, most especially. And some of what I've learned actually goes back to what I learned while I was in Vietnam and shortly thereafter, after I got back from Vietnam, and I started, you know, connecting some dots with other information that I was looking into. So, you know, I can go backward and forward in time with what I know, according to what particular subject or even a particular name, what, you know, what I could add to that. So it's just, I guess it all starts with my being in Vietnam and when I was at Da Nang, and I determined that one day I was going to find out what happened there, why, who was behind it, what were the real purposes for the war. Little did I know, all of these years later, 35 years later, that I would be in the position that I'm in now, knowing what I know now, and being as angry as what I am with what I know.
Yeah. I do have I guess I could, confirmation from a link here. Somebody sent in the information from Greenwald's website online.
Yes.
It's blackvault.com.
Blackvault.com. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, listener sent that in.
But Greenwald, he's a Denver character, and he actually what he does for making money, he doesn't really make money with Black Vault, but he's actually a Denver bartender.
Yeah, and I've been to
now, to get into some of the other things that exist out here in Colorado, back in June of 1998, Stu Webb had been hanging around me like the flea that he is,